Have you ever really struggled with something that you wanted to change about your life, but you found it really, really difficult to do? Like for me, like I really have this goal of trying to eat healthy, and I'll commit, and I'll have a healthy breakfast, and then I'll make a salad, and I'll bring it to church for lunch, and I'll have that. But then I'll pick up my kids from school, and by this time I'm getting kind of tired, and my willpower is gone. Then they'll ask for ice cream, and so we'll quick drive through and get some ice cream. I won't order any because, I'm trying to eat healthy. But then I'll just take a couple bites of theirs. I call it my mom taxes. And so I'll take my taxes from them. But then when I get home, I'm still kind of hungry. And so, I already cheated on the ice cream. So then I might as well just go ahead and cheat again. And before you know it, I'm walking the walk of shame. I'm disappointed in myself. I'm beating myself up. Does this happen to you? So here's the question for today. How do we actually create change, lasting change in our lives? Now, in the Bible, there's this guy named Paul, and Paul wrote most of the New Testament. He lived about 2,000 years ago, but he struggled with change too, with being able to actually change some things in his life. Often in his writings, he complains about having a thorn in his side. Now, we don't actually know what that was. It's never actually defined in Scripture. Instead, we can think maybe it was a physical ailment. Maybe it was a problem or an addiction that he sort of had. Maybe it was something with his mental health or mental anguish or something. But he calls it this thorn in his side, that he prays for it to go away. But then he writes these words that I think we can all empathize with and we can all hear. He writes these words in the book of Romans. Paul says, "I do not understand what I do, for what I want to do, I do not do, but what I hate is what I do. And if I do not do what I want to do, and I agree that the law is good, it's no longer myself who does it, but the sin that's living in me. For I know that good itself does not dwell in me, because that's my sinful nature. For I have the desire to do what is good, but I can't even seem to carry it out. For I do not do the good that I want to do, but the evil I don't want to do, I just keep on doing. Now, if I do what I do not want to do, it is no longer I who do it, but it's the sin that's living in me who does it." Does this sound familiar? Like, I know I should eat healthy, but I don't do it. So what is the thing in your life that you want to make a change in? Is it a habit that you have, or is it an addiction? Is it some negative thinking? Or maybe it's a positive change that you want to just include into your life. You want to have a different mindset, or you want to change something like your job, or make a brave change and change your location. I think what ends up we get wrong is that we get wrong as our starting point. You see, I think when we make change, we think it's up to us to do the changing. But the reality is that if you call yourself a Christian, when it comes to having the courage to change, you're not in it alone. You're not in it alone at all. In fact, God blesses those changes in your life. In Philippians, it says this. It says, "I am certain that God, who began a good work within you, will continue God's work until it's finished on the day when Jesus Christ returns." So it's not your work. It's God's work through you. Or in Mark, it says, Jesus looks at his disciples intently and says this. It says, "Humanly speaking, it's impossible, but not with God. Everything is possible with God." Or in Isaiah, it says this. It says, "For I'm about to do something new. See, I've already begun. Do you not see it? I will make a path for you in the wilderness. I will create rivers in the dry wastelands." You see, the starting point of change isn't the decision to change. It's knowing that God is with you in it. God is with you in it. And I think that when God's with me in something, that gives me courage that I never possibly imagined. Just knowing that the God of the universe has my back, and that God's not looking for some kind of 100% success rate, but just to be with me in it. Now, to close today, I want to share with you this prayer that we call the Serenity Prayer. And you'll hear it oftentimes in recovery groups, AA, NA, those kind of things. And I think why it's so popular in those recovery groups, because those recovery meetings, let's be honest, they're all about change, aren't they? I want to read you the whole prayer today because I think that it's really just beautiful. So my hope is wherever you're watching this, you just sort of breathe in and breathe out and pray this prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, living one day at a time enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking, as God did, this sinful world, not as it is, and not as it is, and not as I would have it, trusting that God will make all things right if I surrender to God's will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with God forever in the next. My friends, whatever it is that you need the courage to change, you have got this. And you know why you've got this? Because God has got you.